What do you guys think? Yeah, I can get a little closer. Right now, I feel a little. And it's such a time. It's such a time capsule now, and of course, everything's changed because all those problems are solved. So,
In your dreams.
yeah, I know. That's what I kept rolling through my head too. Like, oh, it's still the same. Okay, that's still the same. Yeah, the powers got the money and whatever. But I just worried about your safety through the whole film, and I'm going to step one step back. Like, how did you do this? Did you live down there? Did you have to tell us the story about how this can even be made? And because you were like in your 20s, you're a young woman down there, and you got so much footage and so much coverage. How did it all happen? Where did you live? How did you pay for it? Yeah, there's that.
Okay. Let's see. Well, we were filming. We started filming when Arnold Miller and Mike Drbovich and Harry Patrick were running to take over with the Miners for Democracy from the W.A. Tony Boyle, who was then, as you know from the film, found guilty of the murder of Jock Yablonsky, his wife and daughter. And so we filmed there, and Arnold Miller made a promise in his campaign speeches that he was going to organize the unorganized. And this was happening in Harlan County. And I wanted to see if he was going to keep his promise. The way I actually even heard about Arnold Miller was on the radio station, NPR, WNYC in New York. And I was able to raise as a loan $12,000, and off we went on whatever adventure we were going to seek.
Wow. And you didn't stay in hotel. Is
Well,
there hotels there?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. There was a sort of motel, hotel there, and we stayed there for the first, couple of weeks. And then we lived in a trailer for a couple of weeks. And then we didn't have any money whatsoever, so we lived with the coal miners. And as far as the protection, they were the protection. They were so amazing, and they really had our backs, and they really opened up to us. But during the first week when they didn't know who we were, we just looked like hippies from, New York City. The women gave us phony names like Florence Nightingale and Martha Washington, and until we had a car accident. We were coming down this mountain called Pine Mountain, and there were no guardrails on the side, and it was raining, and another car just went right in front of us, and whoever was driving, we went over. And everybody was all right, and we just crawled out the windows, brought all the equipment, walked to the picket line, and then they just opened up with everything for us. And so that's really how we got their trust.
You proved all that, right?
Yeah.
I just love that. I love the women, their power in this movie. I mean, it's really them. And I like that. And I also like that they're not doing it as women that are separate from the men. They're doing it as families. And I thought that was so impressive. And you captured that so well, especially with the gun in the blouse. What's her name? Lois?
Lois Scott.
Oh, she's amazing.
Was a mentor of mine, a real mentor.
And so articulate too. Every time it's like she knew exactly what to say.
And she wouldn't let anyone hurt anyone, and she wouldn't take any guff from anybody.
Right. Did you find that it benefited you being a woman talking to these guys? Like it must have been different for them. They were like.
Yeah, I think it was much easier being a woman because they just figured, yeah, she's just a woman. What does she know? But with the gun thugs like Basil Collins, until he started getting mad at us, would always talk to me. He said that when he was a boy, he had a girl that he always dipped her braids into ink, and if I was at that time, he would have done that to me. So he was like that, and he was sort of friendly. He also survived the Bataan Death March in World War II, so that took a lot of courage, but
Right. He earned
it was
something. Right,
yes,
in his
but
life.
yeah, you knew he
Uh,
was a tough guy
Right.
and wouldn't be afraid to use his gun.
And I love when I sat next to you in the screening last night. You kept pointing out things. Oh, that's that thing that got the woman that got bumped off to the side. That's me, and then that's me. And it's kind of funny that you don't really know it unless you know it because you can't see you in it. But a lot of times you're right there, getting knocked down, getting pushed around by.
Yeah, when the gun thugs came across, I wanted to protect Hart, who was doing camera work, and Anne, who was holding the lights and assistant camera work. And so I walked forward, figuring, oh, well, maybe they won't hurt a woman too much. But they kicked me, and I had a Nagron because I did all the sound, about 99% of the sound. And so it didn't hurt. And then I had an 815 mic on a fish pole, and I just started swinging it and stuff like that. So.
Wow. And you told me a story yesterday, so I'm just going to. How guns and you, I promised at the beginning that we were going to talk about. How did you protect yourself? What?
Well, I grew up in a place that really cared about kids and stuff like that. There was no guns that I knew of in Scarsdale, New York. And
Is that like Healdsburg?
yes,
Kind of.
yes,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
yes.
All right, I got it.
Yeah,
I got it.
it's a place where people care about each other and are great neighbors and care about education, and you ride your bicycle to school or whatever. So it was a bubble.
Right.
And so when I got to Harlan County, one of the chief organizers called me in, and he said, I have to, talk to you. I said, okay. And that was Houston Elmore, who was in the film. And he opened this big suitcase, and there were all these guns in there. And he said, well, which one do you want? And there was one that was pink and a tiny little handgun. And so I
would have
chose
picked that one too. I would have done that too. Yeah.
We could have shared it.
Yeah.
But as things got tougher, they really wanted me to learn how to shoot. And unbeknownst to me, the gun thugs wanted me dead, and so they put a $5,000 bounty on me, and nobody told me until the end. And I didn't think 5,000 was enough, but but anyway, they then started to teach me how to shoot. And so I had these high-powered rifles that they gave me and that you had to keep like on your chest so you wouldn't get bruised. And they gave me a .357 Magnum, and they would be shooting down below, and there had no indoor, plumbing or anything. And so we'd go as a buddy system to go to the outhouse, and we heard the shooting down below. And then we heard a rustling in a bush, and we both pulled our guns, and a dog ran out. But, that's how frightening it was.
And then just jumping to the other side. So you make this movie, and
yes,
and it took a while. It was like many years of even filmmaking.
Mm-hmm.
But then
I didn't want to leave. I really loved the people. I didn't know how I would ever make it again in New York, and it felt like home in a way.
First time we'll get to I want to hear about the premiere of it and all that stuff. But how did you know it was over? How when you're making a movie like this, the story goes on and on. So,
well, after Harlan County, and they were able to sign their own contract. There is a national contract, and it was the first time that these guys were able to sign their own contract. and I wanted to be sure that I got that. And also, different little things would happen along the way, like wildcat strikes. And so, as I'm doing, the credit sequence, I sort of intercut those.
Right.
So I'd go back, even though we were editing.
Now I'm going to flatter you for a second, but
Okay.
but your storytelling, because it's easy to go places and shoot stuff, and I've seen a lot of documentaries, but how do you tell a story that captures people's imagination, that flows like this movie does? You learn the characters, and you learn them, and then pick up on them later, and you really are really special the way you crafted this film.
You have wonderful editors.
Yeah, okay, is that it?
No, it's really true. I picked the people that I love the most for editing, like Nancy Baker and Mary Lamson, and just these two women that I adored. And I had consulting editors of Laura Hayes and Mira Bank, and we were just all a team. Not that we didn't argue,
Yeah.
about
I guess
things.
that's part of it, right?
Well, that's the
how you
fun of
get to
it.
right?
I mean, you can't cut anything out or keep anything in unless you really tell the story of why you want it in. How is it pushing the film forward?
Right. And then when you were done, then what happened?
Oh, well, that was sort of fun. We wanted to submit it to the New York Film Festival, and it wasn't quite finished. It was in double system because it was 16 millimeters, so it had film and tape. And so they'd have to use a projector that could do that. And so the New York Film Festival said no. And then I found out that they were letting Hell's Angels film do it that way. And also the New York Arts Association had help funded them, and they had help funded me. So I called them and said, just let them look at it. And if they don't like it, they don't like it. And so I stayed up all night with the editors, and we did a cue sheet for the music, and, cleaned everything the best that we could because everything was just spliced with tape. And we brought it up, and I had to leave. And when I came back to pick it up, they said that the head of the festival, Richard Roud, only went to the bathroom once. And that was a good sign. And then they called to say, yes, you're accepted and you'll be a centerpiece film. And 1,500 people at Alice Tully Hall will see the film. And I said, well, I don't know if I want to show it. And they said, stop being stupid, Barbara. I said, okay.
And then went from there, and then...
Oh, and then the miners came, and their wives came, and Hazel Dickens came, and it was wonderful. And we put Hazel Dickens, the last song of the film, in everybody's playbook, and so they would sing with us. And Lois Scott, the woman who takes her gun out of her dress, had been made head of the Black Lung Association. And so she decided this was a perfect place to raise money.
Yeah.
So there she is, raising money, and I'm in the back, behind her, laughing hysterically, thinking, Alice Tully Hall, Lincoln Center, my first film. And she's raising money, and people are throwing $5 and $10 and $20 bills on the stage. And she forgets that she's mic'd, and she just yells, Barbara, you stop that laughing and stuff that money in your bra. We need it. So anyway, that was the first showing.
And so this was and then you were nominated for Academy Award and then won.
Yes.
Wow,
that was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And so supportive. They sat all the documentarians together. And when they, called it out, we all crisscrossed arms, and then they pushed me up when it said Harlan County, and I could just feel my heart beating, in the room.
Right.
And Lillian Hellman gave me the award, and
Wow.
that was incredible.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you came right back and did it again.
Yeah,
with
a little
with,
while
with-
later.
yeah,
Yeah, American Dream.
Dream, right?
Hmm.
It's amazing. Still, like in that day, were you the first woman to ever win directing?
Well, it wasn't directing. It
Well-
was for We're the Stepchildren documentarians.
Yes, I know that, but still.
Yes.
So it's just a best documentary.
So
right,
I was,
right.
yeah, best documentary
Right.
feature.
Right.
And yes, I'm still the only woman who's won 2 Academy Awards in that category.
Yeah. Wow. That's why you're here. Like, I'm going to open this up to you guys. Any questions? Right here.
Oh.
Use that.
Thank you for your work and for being here.
Thank you for being here,
yeah.
too.
This is the first time I've had the opportunity to see that on a big screen, which is really wonderful. But it kind of reminds me again how full of close-ups the film is. And I kind of wondered, was that kind of your vision from the beginning? Is that like, that's the footage you had? Like, how did it end up being like that close-ups were so prominent in the final cut?
I think it was not planned, but I think it was intimacy and really wanting to get close to people and really seeing their faces and, you know, as they're speaking, know what hardships they've gone through. Did you like the close-ups?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's exactly the effect. Like you feel like you're
Yeah.
in the room.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, I always like,
There's not
To-
a lot of room to back up either. Probably you're like close.
well, but you could, you know. But I always think that, you know, it's very important to try to not have you think about there's a camera crew there. I mean, there were only 3 of us, but and that you're there and you're watching life unfold. I mean, to me, that's important that you're going through what they're going through in a way.
Yeah. Thanks.
And to tell you the truth, that's that in all your movies that you do that. It's like the closeness and the personal attachment to the subjects. It always comes through, and that's kind of the magic in all your films that you do. Even
Oh,
if
thank
it's somebody famous, you get in there in a way that's different. You know.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm very curious.
Yes, you are.
I mean, our little ride over, I learned so much about you.
Yeah. She just questioned you in the car, and we only got into like 3 accidents because
No, we didn't.
I wasn't concentrating very well.
Well,
But
he
anyway.
loved talking about it.
Yeah. Yes. Carol, do you want to talk? Do we have a mic for her? Or okay, no, you got it.
So I had never seen it, so it was incredible to see for the first time, and on a big screen. It was such a treat to really appreciate everything you're talking about. And I have 2 questions. So you filmed over the course of 6 years, no? From
Well-
70 to 76?
Yeah, I guess so. But the really 4 years of just really being there.
Of the very
and
tight
and
Harlan County stuff.
And
right?
13 months in Harlan County.
And so how much footage did you end up with that you had to put together?
A lot. I don't remember, but.
I mean, huge.
But we didn't have much money, so we also had to, you know, sort of parse it out, because 16 millimeter is very expensive and it's only 10-minute reels. And we would even go on the picket line when we didn't have any film in our camera, just to try to keep violence down so people wouldn't commit murder in living color. But so we were always there.
Wow. And then my other question is, so you mentioned up front about the big difference between filming now and filming then is access. So are you talking more about with officials, the feds and the sheriff and the whole? Or
Well, it depends. People are very sensitive now because they're cooler and really understand what I think documentaries can do. So they sort of watch their backs to not say anything or do anything to lose their jobs. But, you know, once you really get to know them, you try to let them forget that you're there making a film and just watch them going about their lives and their business and the things that are important to them. And I'm actually making a film I'm in editing now. It'll be my third labor film, and it's about modern day unionism, and it's the Teamsters and UPS. It's the Teamsters helping the Amazon workers, and it's the deliveristas who, bring you your noodle soup on their bikes. And it's their stories, and it's really intriguing and very emotional what they all have to go through. And I hope we have a good film, but it's hard to weave all those three stories together. So we're trying our best.
You'll do it. I trust you. You'll do it. I believe in you.
Thank you.
Oh, right here.
A target date? No.
Oh, sorry. Was that a question? We have one out right. Oh,
But it'll be 2026.
we'll go back there and then we'll come to you. Sorry, just get the mic.
I thought the music was such a huge part of the way you told that story. How did it was just homegrown? Those songs just came up as months went by?
No, some of them were written by Hazel Dickens, and I used a lot of her material and put it in the film before I could even find her and ask her if I could. And I heard that she was going to be performing at the Smithsonian. And so I went to the Smithsonian and said, I've been doing a film about coal miners, and we've used a lot of your music, and would you come and look at the film and see if we can use it, or, what your feelings are about it? And we were in Fine Cut then. And she came and she loved it, and she said, I'll even write a song for you for the end of the film. So she was a beauty, as well as David Morris and Florence Reese, who wrote the original of, Which Side Are You On, wrote me a little note the first time she saw it, and she said, I loved it, Barbara. Thank you. Thank you. So it was great. And some of the music was historical music also. And I would call David Morris because he had a band. And I'd say, okay, I need a little underpinning for this particular scene. Can you just bounce something out and get it to me immediately? And he'd say, all right, Barbara. So, yeah. And they've passed away now, but they remained really, really close friends for so long. And I would try to have them come every time the film showed somewhere. And Hazel came a lot.
Question here.
You just raised something. It sounds like you would go to film even if you didn't have the film. Did that protect the miners? Because I was struck by actually how little violence there was, relatively speaking, with these confrontations.
Well, I think it wasn't us that, we helped, that we were there filming.
Filming, yeah.
Yeah, but they didn't know we didn't have any film.
Right.
And that didn't happen very often. My poor father would get calls because I would send him all the shot film, and then I'd say, please get me 10 more rolls or 12 more rolls or whatever, and he would. But I'm just glad that, there wasn't. I mean, people off camera, somebody got hit really badly with, the butt of a gun and things like that, but I didn't have that on film, so.
I was wondering if just being there with the camera might have...
I think it helped. Jerry Johnson, there's a little piece, the making of the film, and he said that there probably would have been a lot more violence if the camera crew wasn't there. So, yes.
Because obviously they were ready for it. They almost looked like they wanted it. They wanted it to be done. Who's the guy with the gun always in his pocket?
Basil Collin.
Wow, he was a creepy guy.
Yes.
Wow, that.
He was.
Yes.
But what's
Just always with his
upsetting,
hands on-
I'm going back to Harlan County in
Oh,
September.
yeah.
They're
tell-
going to be showing the film, and they named a bridge for him, the Basil Collins Bridge. So,
well,
and when I showed the film,
that can be removed.
huh,
That can be removed. Pin it on you.
not by me.
Yes.
No. Anyway.
Anyway, but you're gonna go back there. That's exciting.
Oh, of course I can't wait.
So then a lot of people probably passed away, especially with the disease.
Black lung.
Black
yes.
lung.
Yeah. So it'll
Right.
be like their children and
Right,
their
right.
grandchildren, and we'll be there.
That'll be a big moment for them, I would think.
And for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course. Right. Wow.
And when we showed the film in Harlan County, the Ku Klux Klan had, put a cross up with sheets and also hung a goat. And then a guy who was really sick with black lung was wheeled in on a gurney so that he could see it. And it was just an amazingly beautiful evening. And also the night that we won the Academy Award, the people that I called, right after were, the coal miners and their wives. And Lois said, "We've been running all over, yelling, 'We won, we won,' and, beeping their horns and screaming. And it was a great thing."
So I think we're about ready to wrap here. Do you have one last question? You're it.
Who were you as a young woman to inspire you to do something like this?
Good question.
I came from a home where I was really loved by my parents and felt like I had a lot of confidence because of that. And I think it's my parents letting me know that there was nothing I couldn't do in my life if I really tried and wanted to, and that no matter what it was and no matter how bad it is, that they'd be there for me. And I actually called them, that night that early morning when we were machine gunned with semi-automatic carbines. And, if you slow the film down, I went first to protect the camera and Anne with the lights. And so I said, "Hi, Mom and Dad, how are you? Well, this morning they machined us, gunned us with semi-automatic carbines." And my mother said, "I forbid you to be there another minute. You come right home." And I said, "Only kidding." And she said, "Well, don't ever tease like that." I said, "I won't." And so they didn't see the film until it showed at the New York Film Festival.
Yeah. Oh, well. You're a silly little girl.
What did you say?
No, you're a silly little girl.
Yes.
Out of control. Anyway, thanks you all for coming.
Yes.
Thank you, Barbara. Let's give a warm Healdsburg welcome.
Thank you
Yeah.
all for coming
Yeah.
so much. And
And
thank
also,
you for showing this here. It was
and
beautiful.
thank you for Sebastopol Documentary Festival. And we did a partnership to get you here. So it was special.
You did very well. You
Yeah,
wrote me these beautiful notes.
I know.
You did.
Yes.
Thank you. And
Yes.
I love being here, and I
Yeah.
hope that this is tremendously successful.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.